Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. My name is David Longley and I'm one of the business development managers here at inspHire. I've been working at inspHire for 4 years, and as part of my job I engage with many business owners and managers who are looking to get more out of their business by utilising the tools available within the inspHire family of products. inspHire are part of Kerridge Commercial Systems Group and have been providing the rental market a specialist solution since 1997. We have over 100 employees working in our offices based in the Netherlands, South Africa, Australia, and our headquarters in Nottingham. In these offices, we support over 3,500 customers who use one or more of our 4 core rental products. Today, we're going to be looking at various ways inspHire can help you keep on top of the financial aspects of your business. And we're going to be looking at inspHire Office that can do this for us. Before we get started, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. I'll aim to answer as many of these as possible during the presentation or get back to you individually after the webinar. Let's take a look at the agenda for today. So today we're going to be looking at how inspHire can help with invoicing, purchase orders. We've got an action configurator built into the system as well. Our non-account or cash customers, how inspHire can give us visibility of return on investment, and then we'll look at inspHire's powerful reporting suite as well. However, before we start, what I'd like to do is just bring up a poll question, if I may, which I'd be more than appreciative if you could just answer for me. So what I'm going to ask is, do you feel that you could improve the way you manage financial aspects of your business? So this just gives us a bit of an idea of where you are at the moment, and then I'll ask a similar question once we've seen the demonstration. So I'll just give you a moment just to answer that. Okay, I can see quite a few answers coming through. Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is going to play you a pre-recorded demonstration of today's agenda. And obviously, if you have any questions, like I say, please put them into your GoToWebinar box, and I'll aim to answer them at the end. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look at is the inspHire invoice run, and this is found in the month end tab. It's broken into 2 different areas. So we have the preview invoice run and then the actual invoice run afterwards. And the system insists on us doing a preview, and this is basically just so that we can double check the contracts that we're going to be invoicing, so that we can do our due diligence, make sure that everything is correct, all the numbers add up, and it just gives us a chance to amend anything before we actually do finalize the invoices. So we select a new preview. Now, what we're basically going to do in the next couple of screens here is tell the system which contracts that we'd actually like to invoice during this run. And we can split and have different criteria based on various things, such as run codes. So run codes, we can put a code against a set of contracts if we want to exclude them from a main invoice run, or maybe we want to group some together. Maybe different customers have different terms and you'd like to invoice them separately. That's fine, so we can do that as part of the invoice run. We can also split by depot. So if you do have a multi-depot operation and you'd prefer to invoice depot by depot to keep things nice and clean and simple, we can do that also. Here we can choose between whether we're going to be invoicing our hire contracts and or sales orders, and then within the hire contracts we can actually choose whether we want to invoice just our deferred items. So deferred items again would be items that have been off-hired but not yet invoiced, or we want to do our continuing hires, so things still on hire, and our deferred items. We can also do consolidated invoicing. So if you have a customer that maybe has several contracts open at the same time, and the customer has requested they want all of those contracts to be consolidated onto one invoice, that's possible to do in inspHire Office as well. Then we just select the date that we're going to invoice up to, click Next and Finish, and now what it's doing is it's just going through all of the contracts that I have at the moment open within the system, and it's cross-referencing it with that criteria that I've just put into the system. And now what it does is it gives us an invoice run preview report. So with this report, we've basically broken down by customer. So you can see here ABC Construction, ABS Garages, and within each customer, again, it breaks it down by contract. So I've got a nice overall view of each contract that is going to be invoiced during this run. And all I do here is just check the items, check the quantities, the dates, the rates, and then the totals to make sure that I'm happy for the system to create an invoice based on this information that we have here. So we'd just go through this report. This report can also be actually replaced by individual kind of dummy or preview invoices as well. So you basically go from page to page. Each one would be its own contract that you can check as well. Once you've checked the contracts here and you're happy with them, we can just go over into the Invoice Run tab, and we're now actually going to use that preview. So you can see it's just there. We click Next, and it doesn't actually let me change anything now because we've told the system that we're happy to do an invoice run based on this preview. It doesn't let us change anything, so we just go through the same screens that we did before. But now all we do is we tick a box just to say that we understand that we're about to create live invoices and the process is irreversible. Are we sure we want to continue? Click yes, and as you can see, again, what it's now doing is it's creating the actual invoice documents for us that we can either print off or we can send via email, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But it's also creating the financial transaction, which we're going to use to actually notify the accounts package, if we're linked to one, that we've raised these invoices as well. Okay. So first and foremost, it gives us a nice kind of summary report. So invoice report, as you can see, invoice, the contract number, who the customer was, if there's any references, what the relevant dates were, and then obviously the totals just there. And then we have our invoices that we've got just here. If we wanted to, we could individually kind of email these out. However, if we are going to be raising several invoices, you know, it could be tens, it could be hundreds of invoices in one go, as part of an end of month routine, what we can actually do is utilize the email invoices tab. And basically what we do is against each of your account customers within inspHire Office, we tick a little box that just says email invoicing, so we know that that customer wants to get their invoices via email. We enter then, as you can see here, the contacts email, so that might be accounts at, and then you can see it's broken down, so this screen has been populated by that invoice run we have just done. And then in the background, what we have is we can link this obviously directly to your email, so who sent it, who the sender is, and then we can also pull through, so this is the email body, we can also pull through fields specifically from those invoices. So each customer is going to get their own kind of personalized email, dear, and it will pull through the name that's listed on against the invoice as well. Please find and close your invoices, and it will pull through each specific invoice number. Then all we do, select the invoices, click send, and away they go. So now all of our customers have their invoices one way or another, whether printed or emailed. As part of that invoice run, it's also populated this screen just here, and this is our post-sales ledger invoices. So again, it's been populated. Each of these are the invoices that we've just created. So you can see there. Then all we would do is select them, click post, and then depending on what which accounts package we're linked to, it may be that you're not linked to an accounts package, and we have inspHire just create a pre-formatted Excel spreadsheet for you that you could use to import into an accounts package. If you're linking to potentially, you know, accounts package such as Sage Line 50, Xero, QuickBooks Online, then it's a direct connection and it will post directly over. So we could do that. I'm posting over to Sage 50 as an example here. So it posts it over line by line, and we can keep track of obviously the customer balances then, and it'll also update the ledger for us. And then once posted, this now gives us a posting report, which we can see, and it will also show us if anything hasn't been able to have been posted as well. So if we've got any invalid transactions, they'll be listed just there and give us the reason as well. So obviously that's at the as part of an invoice run. What we're also able to do, if we do need to raise any kind of ad hoc invoices, credits, or potentially repair invoices, things like that, we can also do that in a dedicated screen here. So we can start to build up a manual invoice, but obviously we'd maybe use this as a last resort, because what we like to do to keep the system nice and clean is if you need to do a hire invoice, perfect way to do it on the back of a hire contract, sales order, sales invoice, and same for the workshop as well. But we do have that flexibility in the system, so it's very quick and easy to raise one if needed. Okay, now we're going to take a look at purchasing and purchase orders. And one of the facilities within that that the system offers is automatic orders. And we'd use this if maybe we have an inventory of items, such as lots of sale items, bulk, non-unique items. You can see here I've got an example of, air filters, hard hat, maybe PPE, that kind of thing. Anything where we're wanting to keep track of the stock levels, and also maybe put some criteria around that, so that if stock falls below a certain level, we want it to kind of warn us and pre-populate or help us populate a purchase order with our supplier. So this is what this screen does here, and you can see we can split it by groups of items, we can split it by supplier, so maybe if you place an order once every month or so with a certain supplier, obviously to save on transport costs, things like that, then you can search by supplier. Again, we can split by depot, and we can split by item type as well. And you can see we've got here, against these items, we'll have a minimum stock level and a reorder level as well. So once it hits that reorder level, it will populate this screen when we've searched, and it will say, right, okay, you've hit the level, we now need to order. So if we take this main air filter as an example, I can see my supplier is SDE001. It's showing me that my current level is 287, and that is below, obviously, the reorder level of 300. So what I can do with that now is I can click Create once we've selected it. And what that's going to do is, you can see there, it's now put an order number for me there. So order 1008, and it's a nice, quick, easy way of it populating it for me. So what I can do is now, if I go to amend order here and type in 1008, you can see it's already populated quite a lot for me there. So I've got the supplier details here. If I wanted to, I could put in, obviously, a delivery address. So if it's not being delivered directly to myself, I could deliver it directly to site maybe. What the supplier reference is, who's ordered it, who the salesperson is as well. And if we check the items that we have here, so again, we can add additional items, cross-hire items, text items if we need to as well. So with the purchase orders, it allows us to put all of that together in one order if we want to. And then we can simply print off, once it's authorized, we can print off the purchase order. As you can see there, we've got all the information on with the totals, and we can email that off to our supplier as well. We can link this obviously directly to your email provider, so this links directly to Outlook. As you can see, quite a good link with Outlook, because it'll actually pull through the email signature as well, bit of pre-populated text, and then you've got the PDF attached there, and if we click to, it would link to our address book as well. So there's our purchase order. However, with purchasing, it may be one of those that we don't necessarily want certain people to have the right to raise purchase orders left, right, and centre. So what we can actually do with the purchase order side of things is, against each user. So if we go into the user parameters here, and I just click into my username just there and go over to options, you can see we've got authorization levels. So I can say I don't want this person to be able to raise purchase orders over the value of £500, for example. If they do try and raise a purchase order over the value of £500, it basically won't allow them to print that particular purchase order. And what we can do is we can actually have then set up what we call a smart view. So if I just go over to my smart view reminders just here, basically smart views in general are inspHire's to-do list. So they're broken down here, as you can see on the left hand side, into all the main key areas of the system: contracts, sales orders, purchase orders. And what we do as part of implementation is, we work with you to populate this screen. There's quite a lot of smart views we have off the shelf already as standard, but they're really easy to create. So if you're wanting to view something, we can kind of put that together for you. And if there's, if you're not going to be doing any sales orders, for example, we can just unclick, and obviously that will disappear. So each person logging in will have their own set of smart view reminders. Each one has their own to-do list. And I've got an example here under the purchasing tab. As you can see just here, purchase orders awaiting authorization. So if purchase order doesn't have that little tick box ticked to say that it's been authorized, we can go in here as an admin. So I could keep an eye on this. I want this to be 0. So I could go in and go, okay, well, I need to authorize these purchase orders. And this is just a smart view that I've created. So you can see I've got the order number, the account names, the relevant dates, who's ordered it, and also I've got my salesperson code here, so I'll be able to go in and say, okay, number 17, I know that's David, so they've ordered it. And then all we can do is just go in, right click, amend order, and then we can tick authorized. And then depending on, again, processes, it may be that I tick authorized and then I click print, and I do it as an admin. But again, to make sure that the processes run smoothly, you may decide to just tick authorize there and then save. But now we want to actually notify the person who raised this that we've changed that and we've authorized it, and now they can actually send it to the supplier. So you can see I've refreshed the screen. That's now disappeared because we've authorized it. This is where the action configurator comes into play. So the action configurator basically allows us to send either an email or a text message on the back of certain triggers. And these triggers are processes within the inspHire Office system. So you can see we've got it split between hire, sales orders, purchase orders, workshop, and invoicing. And within each one, we've got all these different trigger points, if you like. These different actions within the system. So you can see here, convert to contract, amend a contract, so print a quotation. But under the purchase orders tab, we've got one here as well, actually, which is authorized flag has changed. So that flag being the checkbox, what we're saying to the system is that when that flag has changed from not authorized to authorized, we want basically an email or a text message to be sent to a certain user. So what we could do here is, if I just show you within the settings, if you want a text message to be sent out, we link currently to MessageBird, Plivo, and Twilio. So that's if you're wanting the text message side of things. But if you are wanting an email, we can basically go in here and put together, send an email. Who's the recipient? So we can say that's user defined. Or we can say who's ordered it, or we can actually, in this case of the purchase order, we could say the salesperson. So the salesperson on that purchase order will receive an email to say something like the following: dear user, your order. And again, just like we did with the email invoicing, we can pull through the order number from the purchase order. It's been authorized, ready to send to the supplier. Many thanks, admin team. So then what we do is we just save that. We can enable the action. So then when we've actually authorized it, that salesperson is going to receive an email to say, yep, it's ready to go. Okay, and the action configurator can obviously be used for internal as well as external purposes. So if you're wanting to let customers know that maybe an item has been a status on an item has been updated in the workshop, that can be done. Same with contracts. So, maybe when a delivery note has been printed, or an order acknowledgement, or a hire contract, again, all of these can be triggers that can be sent off to your customer as well. So next we're going to look at the customer quick view. So the customer quick view allows us to very quickly view all of our customers, whether they are account or non-account, also known as cash customers. So what I've loaded here are my account customers. So these have pulled through from my accounts package that I'm using. So it's a direct link to the accounts package. Different accounts packages allow us to pull back different information. So in this case, I'm linked to Sage 50, so I'm able to view the balance. I can see also what the aged balance is as well, and what the aged debt is. So that's nice, it'll pull through. If I try to put, for example, A1 Design Services onto a new contract, it will warn me that they are over their credit limit. Similarly, if a customer is on stop in the accounts package and I try to put a contract together, it will warn me. We do have options to override that as well, to prevent people from creating new contracts for customers that are on stop. But also I can view all of my cash customers here as well. So if I load a full list, I can see all of my cash customers, and these will obviously filter straight through into the cash folder within your accounts package. If I just load this partial view, these are my active cash customers, and I can view their balance here. So if I was just to go into Paul Buckley here, I can right click. Straight away I've got a full history. I can manage these customers, these cash non-account customers within inspHire directly, because you wouldn't do that within the accounts package. So I can view a full history of everything that this person has purchased. I can split that by type of items. I can work on date ranges as well. So I can show everything that this person has kind of hired or purchased from me within a certain time frame. I could print that off if I wanted to, if they're wanting a full list of everything that they've had. And then we've also got any transactions that this customer has had as well. So they'd be payments, refunds, deposits. Again, it's all viewed here within this particular screen as well. And then what we're also able to do is when we select and highlight this particular customer, we've got these extra tabs down here at the bottom for hire contracts, sales orders, workshop jobs. This will list all of the hire contracts for Paul. And we've got filters on here as well. So we've got date ranges. We can also view by status. So show me just the ones that are on hire currently, for example. We've got different options based around this. But in essence, it allows us to right click on any of these contracts and perform some various different actions, maybe amending the contract. So I could then go in and actually continue working with this particular contract if I wanted to. And that's the same for your sales orders, for your workshop jobs as well. Any payments that you would take from this particular customer can be done within this within the screen here. So we can mark invoices as paid. We can also make miscellaneous transactions, and we can also print off customer statements within the inspHire Office system as well. Okay, so next up we're going to look at how inspHire Office can help with return on investment with fixed asset cost and depreciation. So the first thing that we can do here is if I just load up one of my unique assets that I would have within the system. And then against this particular asset, we have this FAR tab here, so fixed asset register. So against the item, I'm able to put in specifics such as the unit purchase price, when I bought the asset, what the expected life is, and then as you would do with the depreciation, obviously put in the monthly or the annual. It will tell me what the current written down value is, and also what the residual or scrap value of this would be. We can obviously have FAR additions and disposals as well. And the way this all kind of culminates is if we go over into the month end tab, we have the month end process. So preview FAR month end, we've got an overall month end process as well. And running the month end serves two purposes. So for our stock, it zeroes the turnover figures against the stock for the current month and moves on to the next month. And for fixed assets, the monthly depreciation is calculated and it's printed on our fixed asset register month end report. So what we can do is do a preview FAR month end, choose the month, click finish. It'll then populate with a nice report. So just as we saw again with the invoice run, similar kind of process, that it's a preview first to make sure that we're happy with the numbers, and then you can see the report that it creates here for us. So the purchase price, the depreciation per month taken as a percentage, and then you've got your values here, and then the new value at the end. And then once we've done that, we can go into the month end tab, and you can see here now it allows us to run a month end just for stock records, just for fixed asset register, or for both. So if we just select both, a little warning there that we tick to say we understand what we're about to do. Click finish. And then it's processed it first for the stock, and now it's just doing the fixed asset register. Perfect. So now we actually have the FAR month end report, so exactly the same as the previous one, but this has now done it, and we have a transaction summary as well, so it will tell us what depreciation it has actually taken as well. So now if we head over to our report section just here to actually view some of that information. So you can see that with the reports in general, it's broken down into some of the key business areas within the business. So operations, maintenance, business, financial, fixed assets, purchasing and workshop. We also have a tab here for custom. So we are able to create custom reports based on customers' requirements. So if there is anything that maybe you've seen in the system that is similar to what you need, we can always amend it. Or if it's something completely different, something brand new, we can work with the customers to create that as well. But I've got one just here for fixed assets. So again, we've got quite a few reports. This one I just want to show you, fixed asset register, summary of FAR entries, including current value and depreciation. So we can run this. And again, with most of the reports, we've got this criteria. So we can filter out the results that we want to see straight off the bat, really. So if I do it against a subgroup of items here, just to give you an example, and click print. You can see now we've got the fixed asset register for these JCB 3-ton diggers. And you can see the purchase price, the depreciation, current value, and the total depreciation taken as well. And now for return on investment, one of the most commonly used reports that we have is the asset analysis report. So it shows return on investment for our hire fleet. If we use the same set of items that we just had a moment ago, we can view the return on investment. Perfect. Okay, so we can see here on a rolling 12-month basis, we've got the book value, month-to-date revenue, year-to-date revenue, yield, depreciation that's been taken. If we had any service, timesheet or repair costs, they'd be shown. We've got a cumulative margin, return on investment, and then we've also got the actual usage as well here. So it shows when it was last hired and what the percentage usage is for year-to-date and month-to-date as well. And then down here you can see we've got the subgroup return investment, so an average of the return on investment. As you can see there, the 33 links back to this this graph we've got here. And whilst we're in the reporting tab, as I mentioned, there's over 80 reports within here. Within the financial tab, some of the ones just to kind of show you here, we've got a customer revenue report. So this shows customers' revenue on a month-by-month basis. So if I wanted to see who my top performing customers were, for example, I can jump into here. Again, lots of criteria. So I could see specific customers or a range of customers, a date range. Do I want to split it by hire or sales items? Just click print. Just comes up nicely and shows me for this calendar year what each of my customers has spent. Again, I could print that. I could export it to an application. I could just export it as a file. I could also have these reports set up on a schedule if I wanted to as well. So we do also have a report scheduler. So if maybe at the end of each month I want that, or the beginning of each new month, for the previous month, I could go in and say, okay, how often do I want an email to be sent to maybe the board of directors? I could say, okay, I want it monthly. What day of the month? We might say, you know, the 2nd. When is it active? Is it Monday to Sunday or just during the week? What type of document do I want it to go through as? PDF, Excel, Word, or text? And then I can just choose the emails and away it goes. And again, they can be for not only internal emails and reports, but also external as well. We've also got the grouped revenue. So it allows grouping of revenue by depot, salesperson, and customer. So what I'll do is I'll just group this one, let's say, by the customer. We'll just select a month or two's worth of data. And we can have it in detailed, or we can have it as a summary. And now you can see it's actually grouped everything together, in this case by the actual customer. So A1 Design Services, it's split them by the contracts, as you can see. And then finally, just want to show you the invoice analysis report here. So you can see VAT and depot analysis with hire, sale, and transport breakdowns. Again, we'll just put a couple of months worth of data in there. Again, you've got all of your report criteria. And you can see in a given date range how all of the revenue is apportioned. Okay, so hopefully from that as well, you can see you know, the flexibility in the system. Obviously, we have a very good solid foundation of reporting, but obviously we're able to amend and create new reports if needed as well. Okay, so hopefully you found all that information useful and informative. What I'd just like to do now is, as I mentioned earlier, is to just ask you another question. Okay, so question this time around is based on what you've covered. Based on what we've covered today, do you feel confident that inspHire could help improve your financial management? So it should be on your screen now. If you'd be kind enough just to hit yes or no, and then this just gives us an idea of obviously, you know, feedback on the content of the webinar, and helps us improve future ones and make sure that the content is certainly relevant. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you very much for that. Brilliant. Okay, so thank you everyone. I appreciate your time and you being here today, and we hope that you found the content of the webinar informative and useful. Attached to the webinar, you can find a PDF file for today's presentation, and a link to the video recording of the session will be sent to you after the webinar for you to replay the content covered. If you'd like to discuss anything you've seen today or anything in general about inspHire Office, then please reach out to myself or to the sales team, and we're more than happy to assist. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you again next time.